I'm going to begin with a new unit, that is unit 3 in the quality assurance subject for B.Pharm 6th semester as per PCI syllabus. So I'll begin with pharmaceutical packaging. So let's begin with what pharmaceutical packaging means. Packaging. What do you understand by package? Package means cover, nothing but in cover. So pharmaceutical packaging is a means of providing protection, presentation, identification, information and convenience to encourage compliance with a course of therapy. As we are talking about pharmaceutical packaging, that means we need to think about all the packaging which comes in the pharmaceutical packaging. Suppose we are buying a medication, whenever we will buy a medication, outside there will be a packaging. On that, what are the information? We can get the information regarding the excipients, what is present, and some storage condition. So different information. So mainly what are the information a pharmaceutical packaging gives? Pharmaceutical packaging is a means of providing protection. First is protection. Obviously, your drug is getting protected. Presentation, presentation in front of the who all are going to take. Identification, like paracetamol will have different strip, like omeprazole will have different strip. Information, we are getting so much of information, like what are the excipients present, which pharmaceutical company is manufacturing, what is the date of manufacturing, what is the expiry date. So all the details and convenience to encourage compliance with a course of therapy. So that's what we are calling it as an pharmaceutical packaging. Now, what is the ideal packaging requirement? First thing is that it must protect the preparation from the environmental condition. As we know that if we openly keep something, our drug, obviously it will not get protection from the environmental condition. So first point, it must protect the preparation from the environmental condition. Next, they must not be reactive with the product. Next, must not impart to the product taste or odors. That means it should be very much compatible with the product. As we know that all the pharmaceutical products are some chemical entity. So they should not be reactive. Next is that the packaging we are talking about must be non-toxic, must be FDA approved, must meet applicable tamper-resistant requirement. Tamper-resistant means from the outside anything should not enter to that particular drug. That means it should be sealed or tamper-resistant. They must not be the cause of product degradation. That means it should not react to the product and product should not get degraded. Next, they must be adaptable to commonly employed high-speed packaging equipment. As we know that packaging is done via equipment, so our packaging material should be such that it should not be damaged during packaging. Types of packaging. Packaging material divided into three broad classes. First one, primary, secondary and tertiary. When we talk about primary packaging means your medicament is in direct contact with it. Second is secondary packaging. Secondary packaging, that means suppose you are buying one strip of one tablet. As you have seen that when you are going to a pharmacy shop, they are taking out from a small cartoon box. That cartoon box maybe it contain around 10 such strips. So that cartoon box is your secondary packaging, and when those kind of 100 cartoon box will come in a big cartoon box, that is called as your tertiary packaging. So let's see with our slide. Primary packaging is the material that first envelopes the product. As we are talking about, first envelopes the product and holds it. This is usually the smallest unit of distribution or use and is the package which is in direct contact with the contents. Examples: ampoules, vials, container, dosing dropper, closure, syringe, strip package, blister package, etc. When we talk about secondary packaging, it defined as a packaging that lies outside the primary packaging. It is perhaps used to group primary packages together. Example: paper and boards, cartoons, corrugated fibers, box manufacture. So this is the basic difference between primary and secondary, is that primary will be direct contact with the drug, whereas secondary we want to, where we are going to keep our primary packaging, that is nothing but our secondary packaging. So some figures are available for the primary packaging and the secondary packaging. If you see that, you can easily come to know. The last one, that is tertiary packaging, are those which are the outermost bulk pack, as we are talking about. Now secondary packaging, where we are going to keep, that is nothing but our tertiary packaging. Here diagram is very much visible, you can easily make out, which is the outermost bulk pack. Generally is used for handling, for bulk handling, warehouse storage and transport, shipping, etc. Example, shippers, boxes, tapes, etc. So we have seen packaging. Generally we have of three types, that is primary, secondary and tertiary. Apart from primary and secondary packaging, there are two types of special packaging are currently in use. First one, unit dose packaging, another is device packaging. When we talk about unit means only a single dose. Single dose, just an example we can take out. That means on that particular packaging, only a single unit dose, single unit required dose will be available. Once you open, you cannot put it back or keep it. Or once you open, you need to completely consume it. Such an example you can take as an ENO. It is an example of an unit dose packaging. So it is written, this packaging guarantees safer medication by reducing medication errors. It also more practical for the patient. It may be useful in improving compliance with treatment and may also be useful for less stable products. Next one, device packaging. Device packaging means your container, your drug will come in some suitable device. That means some some modified kind of device. Example, you can take an example of aerosol, that is predefined. So what is that example we can consider? Suppose we are talking as a transdermal delivery system or transdermal patches, which directly come with some exact quantity of dosage form and directly will patch it in our wherever the requirement is there. So it is written device packaging. Packaging with the aid of an administration device is user friendly and also improve compliance. This type of packaging permits easier administration by means of devices such as pre-filled syringes, droppers, transdermal delivery systems, pumps, and aerosol sprays. Such devices ensure that medicinal product is administered correctly and in the right amount. So apart from primary, secondary and tertiary, there are again two types, that is unit dose packaging and the device packaging. When you talk about unit dose, that is a single dose and device with the help of some, for the administration purpose, we are pre-filling with the help of some device. Now let's begin with what are the types of packing materials are generally used in the pharmaceutical packaging. First one, as everyone knows, glass, metals, rubbers, plastic, fibrous materials, films, foils and laminates. So we'll begin with glass. As you know that glass has been widely used as a drug packaging material. Composition of glass, as you know that it is SiO2, that is silicon sand, that is silicon dioxide, soda ash, it may have soda ash, that is sodium carbonate, limestone, that is calcium carbonate, chelate, that is broken glass, aluminium, boron, potassium, magnesium, zinc, barium. So we have seen that different color glass bottles are available for the different purposes. So like if we talk about amber color glass, how it is made up of light yellowish to deep reddish brown, generally carbon and sulfur or iron and manganese oxide. If we talk about yellow glass container, mainly it will have compounds of cadmium and sulfur. If we talk about blue, various shades of blue, cobalt oxide or occasionally copper oxide, that is cupric oxide. And if the glass container color is green, it may be of iron oxide, manganese dioxide and chromium dioxide. So we are talking about glass container. Now what are the different types of glass we have? We are mainly dealing with first one, type 1, that is neutral or borosilicate glass, type 2 treated soda lime glass, type 3 soda lime glass, type NP, that we are calling as a type 4 glass. Generally we are calling it as a normal purpose glass or general purpose soda lime glass, color glass, and the last one is that neutral glass. So this is the table. There is nothing much to explain. There are few examples they have given. There is a which type of glass in which type of container generally we are using. That is, there is nothing but, so you can just go through. So now advantage and disadvantages of glass container. So we'll look at some of the advantage first. So they are hygienic and suitable for sterilization, relatively non-reactive, depends on the which grade we are choosing. It can accept a variety of closures. That means you know that container should be fitted within closures. It can accept. They are transparent. They have a good protection power. They can be easily leveled. They are impermeable to atmospheric gases and moisture. That is one of the most important criteria. So these are few of the advantages. When you look at that disadvantage, first one is that it is relatively heavy. Photosensitive drug cannot be protected in the transparent glass container. Amber color glass container is required in this case, as we know that photosensitive drug generally we are keeping it in an amber color container. When we going to amber color container, price of that container is getting increased. Then glass is fragile, so easily broken. Release alkali to aqueous preparation, as we know that a leaching phenomenon. And the last disadvantage they are telling that as a glass is a chemical substance, sometimes it reacts with the product contained inside. So these are few advantages and disadvantages. As we know that everything has an advantage as well as disadvantages, but in pharmaceutical industry, glass is most acceptable one used as a container. Now let's start with once we finished with glass. Now next is plastic. So plastic, it may be defined as any group of the substance of natural or synthetic origin consisting chiefly of polymers of high molecular weight that can be molded into a shape or form by heat and pressure. So this is natural and synthetic origin. So they can be with, if we use high temperature, we can mold into a different shape or form. So generally, likewise glass, plastics are of main two important types. One is thermoplastic, another is thermosetting plastic. When we talk about thermoplastic, on heating they are softened to viscous liquid which hardens again on cooling, resistant to breakage and cheap to produce, and providing the right plastics are chosen will provide the necessary protection of the product in an attractive container. For example, polyethylene, PVC, polystyrene, polypropylene, polyamide, polycarbonate. If you look at, all are organic compounds. Next one, thermosetting plastic. When heated, they may become flexible, but they do not become liquid. During heating, such material form permanent crosslinks between the linear chains, resulting in solidification and loss of plastic flow. For example, phenol formaldehyde, urea formaldehyde, melamine formaldehyde. So the basic difference between thermoplastic and thermosetting, if you look at, thermoplastic, when it is getting heated, it is going to become a viscous liquid, whereas in case of thermosetting plastic, it can withstand quite high temperature. It is not going to get liquid. So for our purpose, if we want to use in high temperature, we generally go for the thermosetting plastic. So when we talk about plastic, there are mainly two types, that is thermoplastic and thermosetting plastics. So let's talk about some of the advantages of plastic material over our glass container. So as we know that low in cost, lightweight, durable, pleasant to touch, flexible, facilitating product dispensing, odorless and inert to most of the chemicals, unbreakable, leak proof, able to retain their shape throughout their use. They have a unique suck back feature which prevents product dose, ease of transportation. They are poor conductor of heat. They are resistant to inorganic chemicals. They have good protection power. So these are some of the few advantages. You can add more or you can choose some good examples and you can use. So this is the normal advantages of plastic container. Now coming to some of the disadvantages. Plastic appears to have certain disadvantages like interaction, absorption, lightness, and hence poor physical stability. Means there is a chances of interaction with the drug material. Next, all are permeable to some degree of moisture, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and most exhibit electrostatic attraction, allow penetration of light rays unless pigmented black, etc. So disadvantage, if we look at, mainly they are allowing the entry of moisture, oxygen, carbon dioxide, which we don't want. So these are some of the few of the disadvantages of plastic container. Next we begin with metals. After glass and plastic, now next is metals. Generally in metals we use tin, aluminium, lead and linings. Linings will come into slowly in details. First is metal container. Metals are used for the construction of container. Metals commonly used for this purpose are, as we have been discussing stainless steel, aluminium, tin plated steel, tin and lead. Metal containers are used solely for medicinal products for non-parenteral administration. If we want to use any kind of parenteral, for the parenteral preparation, we cannot use metal container for their storage. Metal is strong, opaque, impermeable to moisture, gases, odors, light, bacteria and shatterproof. It is the ideal packaging material for pressurized container. It is resistant to high and low temperature. They include tubes, packs made from foil or blisters, cans, and aerosol and gas cylinders. Aluminum and stainless steels are the metals of choice for both primary and secondary packaging for medicinal products, form an excellent tamper-evident container. As compared to plastic and glass, metal is quite strong. Now next, under metal, first is aluminium. It is relatively light yet strong, barrier to light and chemicals, impermeable and easy to work into a variety of formats depending on its thickness. So next is tin. Tin containers are preferred for food, pharmaceuticals and any product for which purity is considered, and the best advantage is that it is chemically inert for all collapsible metal tubes. Then lead. Lead has the lowest cost of all tube materials and widely used for non-food products such as adhesives, ink, paints and lubricants. Lead should not be used alone for anything taken internally because of the risk of lead poisoning. Everyone knows that lead can, if it is more than the required quantity, if we are ingesting, it can produce lead poisoning. It is heavy metal poisoning. With internal linings, lead tubes are used for the products such as chloride toothpaste. So if we are using lead container, that should be lining, that should be lined. Next we need to talk about tamper resistant packaging. Tamper resistant. So suppose you are buying an syrup preparation. When you after buying the syrup preparation, you cannot directly open it. You need to break a seal. If it is written that if it is tampered, you should not buy. So that is called as tamper resistant packaging. So tamper resistant package is one having an indicator to entry in which, if missing, can reasonably be expected to provide visible evidence to consumer that tampering has occurred. Final conclusion from it is that it should not be tampered. Next, FDA approves the following configurations as tamper resistant packaging, like film wrappers, blister package, strip package, bubble pack, shrink seals, paper, plastic pouches, bottle seals, tape seals, breakable caps, aerosol container. So first one, film wrapper. Film wrappers are generally of three types. First is unfolded paper, thin seal wrapper, and the last one is shrink paper. So first one, unfolded wrapper. On that, what we hit is that it is formed by passing the product into a sheet of over wrapping film, which forms a film around and folds the edges in a gift wrap fashion. The materials commonly used for this purpose are cellophane or polypropylene. Main thing is that our drug will be placed at the end side and it will be wrapped with a wrapper. Next, thin seal wrapper are formed by crimping the film together and sealing together, and the two inside surfaces of the film produce a thin seal. Here what we will do, we will keep the drug exactly at the center. From the both sides we will start folding it. So next is shrink paper. Involves the packaging of the product, product in the thermoplastic film that has been stressed and oriented during its manufacture. The advantage is that it has flexibility and low cost of packaging equipment. Packaging equipment are of low cost and it is shrinking. It has a thermoplastic flow. And next is blister packaging, and the next is strip packaging. Blister packaging is nothing but whenever provides excellent environmental protection and efficacious appearance. It also provides user functionality in terms of convenience, child resistance, and tamper resistance. It is formed by heat softening a sheet of thermoplastic resin and vacuum drawing the softened sheet of plastic into a mold. That means if you talk about just an example, you take an example of a Digene or paracetamol, where you will find in transparent, you can see the tablet. That means tablets are properly packaged in a mold. That is all about generally blister packaging. Generally used materials are PVC, polyethylene combination, polystyrene, and polypropylene. Next we talk about strip packaging. Strip packaging means generally there will not be any pre-molded place for keeping the tablet or capsule. What they are doing, we are just taking two sheets, one sheet will be rolling over other and packaging are formed. Packaging materials such as paper, polyethylene, foil, PVC, etc. Next is bottle seals. Already we have talked about whenever we are going to buy a bottle, you will find that it should be sealed. A bottle may be made tamper resistant by bonding an inner seal to the rim of the bottle in such a way that the product can only be attained by destroying the seals. Yet, as we know that all the medicaments should be properly sealed before we should break the seal once we bring it home for the use. Next is tape seals. Some of the product you will be finding that complete container will be covered with an cellophane, covered with a transparent seal. That is called as tape seals. Involves the application of a glued or pressure sensitive tape or level around or over the closure of the package, which is to be destroyed to obtain the product. The paper used most often is a high density lightweight paper with poor tear strength. So you will find that completely it will be covered within inside and some transparent sheet of paper, that is called as tape seals. Next is breakable cap. When a breakable cap, just take an example of any kind of soda bottles. You need to break the cap. That is called as breakable caps. Breakable closures come in different designs. The roll-on cap design of aluminum shell is used for carbonated beverages. The bottom portion of the cap is rolled around and the bottleneck finish. The last one, seal tube. Some of the collapsible tubes generally we are used for the one main purpose used for packaging are constructed of metal, plastic or lamination of foil, paper and plastic. They are mainly used for the products that require high degree of barrier protection. Most of these are made up of aluminum. So that is seal tubes. Generally when you want to open that seal tubes, you need to break the seal. So that is called as seal tubes. So this is the end of today's lecture, today's video. Please subscribe it and wait for the next video.